So today we're going to talk about one of the reels that we've been using here at the office all summer, and that's the Daiwa Free Swimmer. The Daiwa Free Swimmer is a bait feeder reel. And what I mean by that, a bait feeder reel is a reel that has two drags on it. It has your bait drag, so when you're fishing the bait, there's a lighter drag, and then it has your fighting drag, which is going to be your main drag, where it engages and you're fighting a fish, and that's going to put the pressure on it. The main application of bait feeder reels, at least here in the Northeast, is for fishing the surf. I know in freshwater they're popular among cat fishermen. Some guys take them offshore and use them for sharks there or tuna, but here in the Northeast we use them for striped bass, bluefish, and brown sharks in the surf. Now the advantages of a bait feeder style reel like the Daiwa Free Swimmer here are that when a fish bites, it doesn't feel any resistance like it normally would if you just had a regular reel against the fighting drag. The fish isn't going to feel the rod bending, it's not going to feel the power of the drag, so it's going to take that bait and hold on to it and run off with it, as opposed to, maybe if it was just feeling the tension of the rod, might drop the bait otherwise. Also, if you have a rod and the sand spike in the surf, the bait feeder gives you some more time to get to that bait before the fish drops it, or in the case of a big fish like a shark or a big striped bass, before it wrenches that rod out of the rod holder and into the surf. On the Free Swimmer's bait feeder function, you have an automatic clutch. So that means instead of having to manually flip this back to engage your fighting drag, all you have to do is take a turn of the reel handle, and then that's going to get your drag engaged. To manage the tension on your bait feeder right there, there's a knob right here at the bottom where you turn it counterclockwise for less tension, or if there's a lot of current or a lot of wave action, or you have a really big bait, big live bait out there that's going to take the line out itself, you can turn it clockwise for more resistance. And then of course, like any other spinning reel, you're going to control your main drag, your fighting drag, with the drag knob up top right here. So among the features on this Daiwa Free Swimmer are the Daiwa ATD drag. What that is a specific type of drag grease that has a very low viscosity at startup. So when that drag is first engaged, it is easy for that line to be pulled off the reel. And that makes it so if a fish is running, if it's going to take a sudden burst of speed, it's a nice smooth startup, as opposed to sometimes if you have a stickier drag, it takes a lot of force, more force, to get that first pull of line out. This then gives you a smoother drag throughout the duration of the fight. The Free Swimmer is a graphite frame, which keeps the weight down and resists corrosion. And they have Daiwa's DigiGear technology, which is going to be a gear that's up to 20 or 40% larger than gears on some other spinning reels on the market. Not only are the gears themselves larger, but the teeth on those gears are larger. And what that means, it's going to translate to longer life of the gear without having to get it serviced or replaced. It's going to have better speed and cranking power. It's just going to be more reliable and smoother than smaller gears with smaller teeth. And the handle's finished off with an EVA foam knob there, and I like this power knob style. It gives you a good grip when you're fighting fish, and it's really comfortable in the hand with that foam, and pretty durable and lightweight as well. This reel is available in two sizes. You've got the Free Swimmer 8000 and then the large size of the Free Swimmer 10,000. Now the 10,000 is going to hold 280 yards of 65-pound test braided line, or 330 yards of 50-pound test braided line. We have our 10,000 spooled with 65-pound test braid because we were fishing for brown sharks with it, so we wanted a little extra power. The 8,000 can hold 330 yards of 40-pound test braided line, and that's what we have spooled onto that one. So for each turn of the handle on the 8,000, you're going to get 36 inches of line in. On the 10,000, it's going to bring in 39 inches of line per turn of the handle. Both of these reels can pack 22 pounds of drag pressure. That's way more than you're ever going to need for fishing the surf. If you're taking them offshore a little bit, doing tuna or large sharks from the boat, you will appreciate that extra drag power, but in the surf, it's rare that you're going to be using more than 10, maybe 12 pounds of drag pressure tops. And these reels also have Daiwa's automatic tournament drag, which has a lower inertia at startup. There he goes. What that means is that when a fish goes to run, that first run, there's no stickiness to the drag. The drag pulls out a little easier, and then that oil, the drag grease inside it, picks up viscosity as the fish runs, adding to the drag pressure gradually and smoothly as it runs. But what the important part is that light initial startup, so that the fish isn't going to break the line, pull the hook on that first run. It really is a smooth entry into the drag, and that's really important, especially for a bait feeder reel where you're going to be engaging that fighting drag while the fish is already running. We had a great time fishing these reels for sharks over the summer. Now with the fall run getting going, we're going to be scaling down the gear, getting rid of the wire leaders, replacing them with fluorocarbon, and fishing for striped bass with clams, chunks, sandworms, whatever it takes to hook a big striper this fall. Both reels cost $200, and you can see more of the features of them at Daiwa.com.